days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, you give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.
Okay, so we were having a conversation, Lamont, before you came in about the press conference last night. Did you watch it?
Clips. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So
Not
that's
in
not.
full. I
That's
was
a
at
no.
work.
That's a.
Well, I
That's
was at
no. You
work.
didn't watch it.
No, I had
Yeah,
to
no,
research. I watched
not-
it this
I'm not-
morning. I watched it this
Did
morning.
you watch the press conference? Not clips.
Not in full. Not in
No,
full. No,
you did not
I was
watch
at
the
work.
press conference because this is the
Okay.
problem. This is the problem.
Okay.
The clips are painting a picture on purpose, right? The clips that are circulating and being widely put out into the universe.
My algorithm, they sent me the important clips that made him look good.
Sure.
So that's what I saw.
Okay. All right.
That's what I
Here's
saw.
my question. Before we went to break, is this a race thing? Is it about his age and his mental capacity, or is it about Kamala Harris possibly being president of the United States? I'm going to go with answer number 2 or B, because here's who's come out. So we had the George Clooney New York Times op-ed that I read on the air. Stephen King, Rob Reiner, now Ashley Judd today, the Lost co-creator Damon Lindelof, self-proclaimed lifelong Democrat. And when people say lifelong Democrat, I think when white folks say Democrat and black people say Democrat, it's two different things. We ain't saying the same thing.
We're not.
So we need to establish that. Your Democrat ain't like mine. I just need to establish that. He declared, Lindelof, that Biden has to go and the Dems need to wake up. One of the biggest Democratic donors, Netflix co-founder Reed Hastings, has also called for Biden to drop out of the race. He said Biden needs to step aside to allow a vigorous Democratic leader to beat Trump and keep us safe and prosperous. Do you think he is envisioning Kamala Harris? I'm asking for a friend. Do you think when he says vigorous Democratic leader to beat Trump and keep us safe and prosperous, is he thinking Vice President Kamala Harris? Also, he said that in the New York Times, which is an op. I'm just going to say New York Times is not our friend. I'm going to say never been our friend. I'm just going to say that. Michael Moore's ass, 71-year-old Michael Moore, bowling for Columbine, Fahrenheit 9/11. He was a bit more extreme in his argument against Biden. During an appearance on MSNBC, Moore accused the Democratic Party of, quote unquote, committing elder abuse. I think everyone's committing elder abuse. I think it's not just the Democratic Party. By pushing him to continue with the election campaign, no one's pushing him. Biden is pushing himself. The problem here, Michael Moore said, is that I think there is a form of elder abuse going on here where the Democratic Party and the people that are part of the apparatus are pushing him to stay. And then he comes out and says, I'm staying. And the family says, I'm staying. I don't know about you, but in spite of my criticisms with Biden, watching the debate a week ago was heartbreaking. It was like, imagine that your father is up there. I'm thinking, why isn't anybody doing anything? Well, he would probably be your brother because y'all are about the same age. Why did they let him go on stage? So should you step down? Who is looking out for him, he says. Also, Disney heiress Abigail Disney, longstanding Democratic donor. She held the president as a good man who served his country admirably, but warned that the GOP would win in November if a change of leadership was not made. And then... So when we look at even the people in Congress and the senators and stuff, it's a sea of white.
It is, and they all look the same. They look like a certain kind of white too. A certain kind of Democrat came out today. It was like 15 of them, and I went through each picture and each where they from, little bio, and each of their statements, and they all would look the same. They really look. It was a kind of white that was similar to each other. It was a special white. And I don't see color.
I'm gonna say it was an off-white.
It was okay, eggshell,
alabaster.
Yeah,
I don't get
they literally. And these are people. A lot of the people that I saw today and I read on that list. These are people you've never heard anything from. Ever.
Yeah, I'm learning their names right now.
Yeah,
like every person they I'm like, who? They like, oh, it's so and so from such and such. Oh, okay. What he do? You know, it's not like they pulling out people where I'm like, Oh, snap. I can't believe Nancy Pelosi said that. I know Nancy Pelosi. I know her work. Is Jim Clyburn said that? No, it's all just like, y'all know Bobby Jones Smith. Y'all ever heard of him? He run a small district, District 179 out of Portsmouth, Omaha. You like, what is happening right here?
Yeah. And the statements that I came across, they're super strong. Like the statements are strong.
Yes.
And in your statement, in your strong statement, you don't offer one solution. So it's like the memo went out and it's a talking point. It's like, listen, the fate of the free world is hanging in the balance. And if he can't even stand up straight, what's going to happen to us? And then I'm like, all right, okay, that's fair. All right. And then what? And what's the angle?
And there's no angle.
Nobody
because if they don't want to say the thing that they want to say.
Correct.
Because then we'll all know.
Right.
This is not about Biden's age.
That's why I brought up the early thing, last hour. I was like, if everyone was saying the same candidate, then you might have a discussion. Right now, they just like, they describing the candidate.
Right.
They don't want to say no. We need a vigorous, strong advocate for democracy. Right. I'm like, okay, but what's their name? Because like this ain't fantasy football. You can't just put somebody on a waiver wire. You got it's a whole chain of command.
Create a player. Yeah, create a player.
Y'all got to bring this person up right now, because that's the other thing. In this 4 months you have left, let's say you did swap it out. That person's about to be the next person getting run through with a fine-tooth comb, getting insulted, So it's so like whoever you pull, they need to be somebody that can get up and running today. You scared to say a name.
Yeah.
Why not the vice president who's been run through the ringer and draws turned inside out, done had
that seems like the
why
obvious.
Not the vice president?
That seems like such an obvious answer. That is baffling that it's not showing up in all the op-eds, right?
Right.
Because it's an obvious answer. I mean, honestly, what's a vice president if not the plan for succession? If something happened to Biden today, who's going to be president?
She would be that anyway.
So you telling me descriptors and not a name just make me feel a certain way with all y'all looking the same color eggshell, and I ain't never heard of y'all before. It's got my spider sense tingling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Mine was tingling a few weeks, a week or two ago.
And another obvious thing that I think is not another obvious thing that I think is being skipped over is the fact that you can say the same thing about both of them. Like you really could say, like, all right, they both got to go. If you're making that argument and you're that passionate about it.
You mean Trump?
Yes.
And Smith, hold on. Play the clip again from this primary cycle when Donald Trump was trying to say Nancy Pelosi. Here's what happened.
By the way, they never report the crowd on January 6th. You know, Nikki Haley, you know, did you know they destroyed all of the information, all of the evidence, everything, deleted and destroyed all of it because of lots of things. Like Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people, soldiers, National Guard, so whatever they want. They turned it down. They don't want to talk about that.
He meant Nancy Pelosi, but he kept saying Nikki Haley.
Yeah,
and he didn't catch himself. Never come. And that wasn't running around. Did you see this 1,000 times on TV all the time?
No.
Did it make it through your algorithm?
This is actually my first time hearing this clip.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what's interesting too with this is that this man tried to insurrect the country. And we didn't get 5 New York Times op-eds in a row saying he must step down and not run again. Like the bar is different, and I think I hate to make it sound so simple and racial, but that's why I'm like, listen, only an old white man could defeat an old white man, because he don't even have a bar over there. We ain't never gonna have a discussion about should this man be running for president.
He got one. It's serving Crown Royal and Hennessy. He got a bar. Right. It's just got
and Adderall, McDonald's for strangely
cocaine.
Big Macs is on the bar for some reason.
Henny and Coke, and I ain't talking cola.
Right. But it's so interesting that like the Biden thing, they try to turn every gaffe into like another moment, a senior moment, and then for him, he can go do whatever he wants. I do wonder on a bigger level if some of this is the media, because they definitely missed Trump being in office. Like that was a ratings ticket. I wonder if they think they can turn Biden into a ratings ticket with this. Like, oh, he coughed, and it's just like, let's run this over and over on CNN. Just, here's a clip of him coughing. What you think about him coughing? Bring in a Democratic representative, like, because it's turning into TV
that's news.
ratings.
Well, that's news. That's news anyway now. That's what morning news looks like now.
Yeah, but it's interesting, Ryan Lamont. I'd say even go back 2-3 months ago, right? They were starving for something, because Biden told us what he say in 2020. Vote for me, you ain't gonna wake up every day like, what the hell this motherfucker done did, right? So he's like, you ain't got to worry about that. You can sleep, you can wake up at your normal time, sip your coffee, do your morning routine, turn on the news, open up the paper. You ain't gonna see nothing like he just declared everybody getting kicked out the military. You ain't got to worry about that. So he kind of been boring. Right. And his administration's been really good. Right. If anything, they're like, why aren't they talking about it more? Y'all are the media. Y'all could be talking about it. Y'all choosing not to. This is easier and more sensationalistic. The disasterbation on the side of
hold on. You done made insurrect a verb, and
disasterbation.
Now it's disasterbation.
Yeah.
You better come on with it. Disasterbation.
Is that disaster and masturbation?
Did you coin that, Roderick?
Yeah, 2011.
Okay, listen to you. Disasterbation.
Now, is that when masturbation doesn't go right?
No, that's when you choose
Shoot
something.
Your eye out.
You choose something disastrous, right? And you get so obsessed with it that you continue to just kind of play around with it to death.
Yeah. Got it.
You get obsessed with it. And I feel like that's what this last few weeks has been, is like a lot of the disasterbation has been like, this is going bad. And then we need to talk about how this is going bad. And it's going bad again. Hey, it's going bad. And it's like, you just look up and the tenor of the whole conversation is just this, like, we're going to lose. If you step back and look at everybody, people that want them to stay in, people that want them to get out, everybody is having this feeling right now, we're going to lose because of whoever's on the other side of this. And I think that's a real purposeful thing, because when people feel like that, they turn on their TV, they scroll on their phone, they look at each clip in each video, they share the viral senior moments, and we end up fighting each other and stuff. I had to turn off all that like For You page stuff. I don't even want to see it. I know what I'm doing in November, and you can't convince me otherwise, and I can't convince you. So we just gonna have to be in this at November and see what it look like.
I just also, the nerve of George Clooney to think that you're the guy who we want to hear from. The nerve of this guy. Like, because you sold some tequila.
Have y'all noticed this, Lamont? I don't know if you noticed this, Karen. Almost all the people that are saying he need to drop out are people that didn't want him in office, period. Like, it's people that he wasn't their first choice in the first place. I was listening to a podcast.
George raised big money for him. He did raise big money for him.
But was he his choice? It's difference between saying like, I got a fundraiser in 2020. Was you like, nah, I don't want Elizabeth Warren. I don't want Bernie.
Oh, that's a good question.
Because he wasn't a lot of people's first choice.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't mine either.
He wasn't.
So so there's three people right here.
No, it's Smiz. That was his first choice. It's the only person I know for sure.
On this broadcast, we got 3 out of the 4 people that he wasn't their first choice. That says something. And I think it says something now that some people have been fantasy footballing this whole 4 years. Like, I would love to have this administration, but without his old self leading it. If I could just flip it out, and it's not for Kamala, by the way. It's like, if I could flip it out and give Gavin Newsom all the credit, and we just push him forward, then we will have a good party. If I could just flip this out and put Gretchen Whitmer in it, then let her take credit for all the accomplishments of him and Kamala. Then we will have, because they don't want to change the platform, right? They don't want to change the way that the administration is governed. They don't want to change a policy. They just want to change the face. So you're admitting the administration is not the problem. They're not asking him to step down from being president. They're asking him to step down for running for president. So it's very interesting when you step back and look.
If he can still be president, can he still be president?
My days are cooler, nights are warmer, and and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, right at you. You give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.